Greetings everyone. I am Bhargavi Trivedi and I am currently working as an assistant professor in Department of Biotechnology and Biochemistry at LJ Institute of Applied Sciences. So in this video tutorial you are going to learn regarding what is downstream processing and what are the main steps that are involved in the downstream processing. Thank you and stay tuned. Welcome to Bhargavi's ARD. That means Bhargavi's all-round development where biology meets creativity. So in this discussion, we are going to learn regarding what is downstream processing and what are the steps that are involved in the overall downstream processing. Now this is a part of the paper BT 302 Biochemical Engineering Unit 4 Downstream Processing. So let's start without wasting the time. Before jumping to the topic, let's understand some basic words that are involved that will be involved in the overall steps that you are going to study further. So the first main word that you are going to always encounter is the word fermentation process. And what actually is the fermentation process? Now this term is quite misleading. Okay, normally students often tend to get confused between the aerobic process and the anaerobic process. Now, the fermentation word was commonly used just to denote that by using the microorganism, we are making a certain product that is useful for the mankind. Now, as soon as the students hear the term fermentation, they often get confused that, oh, it is going to be the anaerobic process. But it is not so. The terminology, or you can say the process, is also applied for the aerobic conditions also. Okay, so that by using the aerobic conditions, by in the aerobic conditions, microorganisms are used for the making of certain end product that is used for the mankind purpose. So sometimes this fermentation process or fermentation technology is also referred to as bioprocess technology in order to avoid the confusion between the aerobic process and the anaerobic process. Now you know the basics that the fermentation or the bioprocess technology is any process in which we are using microorganisms, and with the help of those microorganisms we are going to make a product, but that product should be helpful to the mankind only, or you can say that product should be helpful for the overall development of the human resources. That's why we are going to study this thing. Now this process is subdivided into the three parts. First is upstream processing, the second is the fermentation process itself, and the third is downstream processing. So first we understand that what are these three terminologies, and we will go in detail in the steps of this downstream process. So we know that we are going to use the microorganisms, right? So now at the industrial scale, we are dealing with tons or with n liters of the product. Okay, we are not just dealing with 500 ml of product or 1 liter of the product. There we are dealing with 10,000 tons or 10 lakh liters of the water of the product. So in order to reach at that level, we need to first have some experiments that are carried out at the lab scale. Slowly, gradually, we will go to the pilot scale, and then we will go to the industrial scale. So in upstream processing, we are going to follow certain steps. Okay, so what are those steps basically? So basically, they are those steps which helps the microorganisms uh, to make the product that we desire. Okay, so basically upstream involves that we are going to provide certain medium, because that medium is basically going to act as a carbon source, nitrogen source, or whatever the source that is required by the microorganisms for the production of our desired process. So once the upstream part is over, we come to the next part, that is the fermentation process. It is not like just we adding the microorganisms and we are getting the product. It requires certain time for the microorganism to make the desired product. Now, this fermentation process is strictly carried out under manipulated conditions. Okay, so for example, temperature, pressure, etc., everything is manipulated so that microorganisms they are forced to give the desired products. So remember, there are certain cases in which the microorganisms will fail to make the desired product. Then the entire process is of waste, and we cannot use it. We cannot use that product. So it is mandatory to use to give the proper control condition to the microorganism. And once the microorganisms they use the fermentation medium that we have provided, then they are going to make the product. The product is needed to be extracted from there. Okay, so that step, after the microorganisms work is over, whatever the steps that will be involved, they all are going to come under the downstream process. Okay, so if you want to define the downstream processing, then that means we need to first separate out the product, we need to purify the product, and then we need to recover our product so that it can be packed and it can be supplied to the to the dealer in the pure form or in the form they want it. Okay. Plus, the main thing that everyone forgets is the effluent treatment. Okay, we we cannot be just like, yes, we have obtained our product and whatever the waste is there we can just throw out. We also have to treat that effluent. So both combine and they together falls under the downstream processing. We also need to treat the waste that was remaining. Okay, so basically we will discuss further in the upcoming slides regarding that what are the steps, how at each step the product is recovered or the product is for more and more purified, and at the last stage the product is ready for the further for the packaging and the dispatch. Okay. So the main aim of the downstream processing is to recover our product efficiently, and we have to also maintain the safety, okay, regarding our product. Okay, biological activity we also have to maintain, and the main thing is that the cost should be as minimum as possible. Now let's discuss that what are the main basic steps that are involved in the downstream processing. So as you can see here, I have mentioned the different stages that are involved in the isolation and the purification of the products of our biological product. So first, as we studied that there is an upstream process, then fermentation, that means the microorganisms have made the product. Here in the broth, we have the product now. Now after this, whatever the stages that are there, they all come under the downstream processing. Okay, sorry. Whatever the steps are there, they all come under downstream processing. Now, once you have the product, it can be in the two. It can exist in the two forms. Okay. For example, if you are interested in the enzymes that the microorganisms release directly outside of the cell. So they are termed as extracellular in nature. That means the microorganisms have made the product and it is already extracted or it is already released into the fermentation broth. And another one is the intracellular product. That means microorganisms has made the product, but it is still present inside the cell. It is still has not come outside the cell. So when the product is intracellular, first we need to break open the cell. Okay, so that process is called cell disruption. Cell disrupt means breaking of the cell. Now this can be carried out by using chemical, enzymatic, mechanical, or physical method. The deep mechanisms that are involved we will learn in the further video tutorials. Then, once the cell disruption, once the cell lysis has been occurred, now the product is in the fermented broth. Okay, so again, it will be same as the extracellular product, in which also the product is directly released into the broth. So once we identify that what is the nature of the product, then we have to take a certain step. Now, if the product is extracellular, then you don't have to go for the if the product is extracellular, then you don't have to go for the cell disruption. But if the product is intracellular, then you must have to go for the cell disruption. Then the next step comes is of solid liquid separation. Now, why is the next step that is of solid liquid separation? Because when the product is formed, it is not only the product that is present in the entire fermented product. We will have certain cell debris, or you can say certain cell fragments, some unwanted precipitated material, some unwanted precipitated salt, some thick fermented medium components that are formed, or the viscosity of the entire broth because of the activity of the microorganisms must have increased. Now, you are just interested in the product, you don't want such impurities. So at that stage, you need to separate out the solid liquid content. Okay. Apart from that, if you are interested in the liquid part, if the product like enzyme is present, okay, so you are not interested in the waste that is present. So you need to separate out first too, so that you can treat only the liquid part. That means the overall the fermented volume will be reduced. So it is easier to handle the lesser volume as compared to thousands of liters of volume. So that step is carried out by using different methods such as centrifugation, sedimentation, extraction, filtration, etc. Then once you have the solid liquid separation that has been done, so whatever the product that you got will be in the diluted state. Okay. So you don't need the diluted state. You need the product to get concentrated. So for that, the next step is the concentration part. That can be done using the evaporation, ultrafiltration, absorption, or precipitation method. Again, the details of this will be discussed in the upcoming tutorials. Once you have concentrated the product, you have to purify that product, because with that product, some amount of other products, or you can say other impurities, will be present. So that comes the purification step. So that is mainly carried out by the chromatography. Then comes the formulation step. So formulation, that means you want to stabilize your product so it can remain for longer period of time until it is sold to any buyer or any dealer. So for that, the entire formulation step involves the crystallization, freeze drying, spray drying, and then finally you have your final product. Okay, so these are the main steps that are involved in the downstream processing. Here I have given again the brief outline, the same thing that I have mentioned, but in the schematic form. So you can also go through this. Now, there are certain key points that you have to keep in mind before going for the particular choosing the stage. Okay. So, first step is that you need to know the nature of the product, whether it is intracellular or extracellular. Because if the product is extracellular and still you will go for the cell disruption steps, then it is of no use, and eventually it will lead to the further addition of the cost in the process. Okay, so you don't want that. So the first key point is that. Second key point is that the concentration of the product in the product. If the product is in very diluted form, then you need to go for more and more purification steps to have the concentrated product. It is very necessary to know that the product is either in the diluted form or in extremely diluted form. The third step is to know the minimal acceptable standard of purity. That means in certain stages, if the product is of 90% purity, then it is acceptable. But let's say when you are dealing with the patient, for example, if you want to supply the insulin, okay, the insulin injection for diabetes patient. So during that time, you cannot afford to have the insulin that is of low quality, okay, because they are not going to accept that because you are dealing with the patient. So you have to see that what kind of purity is expected from your product or where you are selling your product. The next step is the magnitude of biohazard of the product and growth. Is your product harmful to the environment or to the humankind? Is your growth harmful to the environment or the humankind? Remember, we have discussed in the downstream processing that we are just not interested in the product. We need to treat our effluent before discharging it out in the water bodies or in the anywhere else. Last step is knowing the impurities and the marketable price of the product. Okay, the main thing is the marketable price. You should know that at what price you are going to sell that product because ultimately it is going to decide the cost factor of the overall downstream processing. Now, apart from the steps that we have seen, there are other parameters that also play a key role in deciding that which process you are going to use. So, the first is the capital cost. It means whatever the overall cost, okay, including everything that comes under the capital cost. The another cost is the processing cost. Whatever the instruments that you have used, whatever the things that you have used, power supply and all, they all come under the processing. The another is the throughput requirements. And during the entire process, whatever the requirements that you're going to use, they will also have some particular price that first you have to pay. Okay, so that you also have to keep in mind. The next is the yield potential, that how much your microorganism is going to give to make the product. Okay, if the yield potential is very less, then you have to make some changes in the upstream processing so that the microorganisms they are going to make more product. Then the another one is product quality that we already discussed. Then the next is the technical expertise available. If the fermented, your fermenter or something happens to the fermenter, or your automated system, so you need some technical expertise and you have to also pay to them. Okay, so it also comes from the overall downstream processing that you are going to carry out. So the next is the waste treatment needs. Okay, again, if you are treating the effluent rock, then you have to go for some ultrafiltration or some reverse osmosis or some any other process that is again going to add charge to the overall treatment. The next, last and the most important is the personal health and safety. The workers that are working in the plant, they also have to be safe. Okay, they also need to be safe. So you have to provide the costume based on the biohazard level that they are dealing with. Okay, so whatever the equipment that they are going to use or whatever the safety measures that you have to provide them will also add to the overall cost. So everything that this all the things that has to be taken in mind before going for the downstream processing. Now, certain fermentation products that are majorly we use that are divided into the five major groups. Okay, first is the biomass. The simple example is the baker's yeast. In the baking industries, mainly it is used primary metabolites and secondary metabolites. The third is the bioconversion or biotransformation products. The fourth is enzyme and the recombinant products. And here are some recommended readings. You can always go through this and you can have the better understanding of this product. And if you have more questions, then you can always email me your questions on bhargavi.ljis@ljs.edu. Okay, I will be happy to help you. So thank you for watching